It started with a letter that was never meant to be sent, folded carefully, sealed gently, but hidden away for years in the back of an old wooden drawer. A confession written by a woman who once believed in forever. Her name was Anna Hale. She wasn't a dreamer anymore when the letter was found. She was 46, quiet, and known in her small town as the woman who ran the little library near the hill road. People came and went, books were borrowed and forgotten, but the letter waited patiently in her drawer, like a memory too heavy to let go. And one winter evening, when a storm broke the power and candles flickered on her desk, she finally opened it again. The ink had faded, but her heart hadn't. "Dear Michael," it began. "It's been years, and yet every word I never said still echoes like the day you left. Maybe you'll never read this. Maybe that's why I can finally write it." The story inside the letter began 25 years earlier. Anna was just 19, bright, curious, and a little too serious for her age. Her world was simple: a small college, a rented room, dreams of writing. And then Michael arrived, a transfer student from another city, with a camera always hanging around his neck and a smile that could turn silence into light. He wasn't like anyone she'd known. He laughed easily, noticed the small things, like how sunlight turned the classroom dust into tiny golden sparks. Anna, who always stayed in the background, found herself watching him without realizing it. It wasn't sudden love. It was slow, like a sunrise. They started sharing coffee during study breaks, helping each other with notes, walking home after lectures. He'd take her photo when she wasn't looking, saying, "You look most real when you forget the world," and she'd blush, pretending to be annoyed. Months passed, and friendship became something deeper, the kind that doesn't need words. Then came the winter trip, a small group of students heading to a mountain village for a photography project. Anna wasn't supposed to go, but Michael convinced her. "You'll find stories there," he said, "and I'll find you." They stayed in a wooden cabin surrounded by snow. There were nights of laughter, shared tea, and long walks under starry skies. On the last night, the world was silent except for the sound of wind and fire. Michael took out his camera but didn't lift it. He just looked at her. "I don't know what this is," he said softly, "but if I leave tomorrow and never see you again, I want you to know. I found something in you that feels like home." Anna couldn't reply. She just looked at him, eyes shining. That silence was her answer. But life, like winter, changes suddenly. The next morning, news came that Michael's father had fallen seriously ill. He had to leave immediately. He promised to write. She waited every day. Weeks became months. No letter came. The college year ended. She tried to study, tried to move on, but something inside her stayed frozen. One spring afternoon, she finally received an envelope. It wasn't from Michael. It was from his roommate. Michael had been in an accident on his way back home. He survived, but his right hand, the hand he used for photography, was badly injured. He had written to her, the friend said, but never posted the letter. He didn't want her to wait for someone broken. Anna read that line over and over until the ink blurred. Years passed. She finished college, started working at a library, and quietly built a life around silence. People came and went. Some wanted her love, some just wanted her calmness, but she could never give her heart again. Not fully. Sometimes she saw young couples reading together and felt that old ache, the kind that doesn't scream, just quietly breathes beside you. Then one day, 20 years later, a photographer came to her library for an exhibition. His name was Michael Caine. Time had changed him. Silver in his hair, tiredness in his eyes. But it was him. The same smile, the same calm energy. For a long moment, neither spoke. The world around them went quiet. He was the first to break the silence. "You never changed much," he said. "And you still talk like you're framing a picture," she replied. They both laughed, softly, nervously, like old friends who had forgotten how to start over. Over the next few days, they met again. Coffee, small walks, unspoken truths. He told her about the years he spent teaching photography to children, about his mother's passing, about living alone near the coast. She told him about books, about the peace of quiet corners, about nothing and everything. One evening, as the sky turned gold, he said, "I kept every photo I ever took of you, even the blurry ones, especially those her eyes filled with tears." "Why didn't you write to me?" He looked down. "Because I wasn't the same man anymore. I lost the hand that made me who I was. I didn't want you to see me as less." She whispered, "You were never less. You just didn't believe that someone could love you beyond what you do." For a while, neither spoke. The only sound was the wind outside, carrying the soft hum of the past. They began to meet often. Not like lovers, not like strangers, just two people remembering how to feel. But time, again, had its own plan. Michael's health was failing. He never said how serious it was, but Anna saw it in his trembling hands and tired smile. He once said, "If I could take one more photograph in this life, it would be of this. You, by the window, with that look that forgives everything." She tried to smile, but her eyes betrayed her. A month later, he passed away quietly in his sleep. No drama, no last phone call, no goodbye. Just silence, the kind he always loved. When Anna went to his small house by the coast to help sort his things, she found a box labeled "Unsent Letters." Inside were dozens of envelopes, each one written but never posted. And on top of them all, one with her name. It read, "If you ever find this, know that I never stopped loving you. I saw your name in every sunset, your kindness in every face I photographed. You were the story I could never finish, because some stories aren't meant to end. They're meant to live quietly inside us, changing who we become." Back in her library, Anna placed that letter beside her own. The letter I never sent. Two hearts that never found the right time. Finally, side by side in silence. And that night, she wrote one last line in her journal. "Love isn't about staying together. It's about leaving something inside each other that time can never erase. He taught me that, and maybe that was the life I was meant to live." Years later, when a young girl working at the library found those letters, she cried without even knowing the people who wrote them, because she could feel it, the quiet kind of love that changes you forever, even if you lose it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share if you enjoyed the story, and subscribe for more stories that touch your heart.